The morning started like any other at Pinecrest Medical Center, bustling with the hum of hospital activity. The rhythmic beeping of monitors and the soft murmur of conversations echoed through the brightly lit corridors. Gloria Thompson, a seasoned nurse with over 30 years of experience, walked purposefully through the hallways. Her warm smile and reassuring presence were a source of comfort for both patients and colleagues. Today, however, an unseen storm loomed ahead. Gloria had spent her career earning the trust and admiration of countless doctors and patients alike. Her dedication to her work was unmatched, and her intuition often solved problems before they became crises. But this morning, as she reviewed the chart of a patient recovering from surgery, the door swung open with a forceful bang. Dr. Richard Crowley strode into the room, his expression a mixture of irritation and disdain. The newly appointed physician carried a reputation for brilliance overshadowed by his arrogance. His crisp white coat flared dramatically as he entered, a gesture as grandiose as his ego. "Is this the best you can do?" Dr. Crowley sneered, tossing the chart onto the desk without sparing it a second glance. "I've seen interns perform better." Gloria turned to face him, her calm demeanor intact. Decades of experience had taught her that losing composure only fueled such attitudes. She replied evenly, "Dr. Crowley, the patient's vital signs and treatment plan are up to date. I'd be happy to clarify any questions you might have." But Dr. Crowley's sharp tone sliced through the air like a scalpel. "Maybe if you focused on your work instead of whatever it is you do, this hospital wouldn't be such a mess." The room fell into a suffocating silence. Other nurses nearby exchanged uneasy glances, but stayed rooted to their spots, unwilling to intervene. Gloria's jaw tightened ever so slightly, though she refused to rise to the bait. Her professionalism demanded more from her than Dr. Crowley's careless insults. "I'll ensure everything is double-checked," Gloria responded, her voice steady. "Thank you for pointing out any concerns." Dr. Crowley's glare lingered a moment longer before he stormed out, leaving a trail of tension in his wake. As the door swung shut behind him, Gloria exhaled quietly. The episode wasn't her first encounter with a difficult colleague, but it was no less disheartening. Before we continue, where are you watching this from? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to hear more inspiring stories like this one. The rest of the morning passed in a flurry of activity. Gloria's hands moved deftly as she inserted 4 lines, checked vitals, and reassured patients. Her years of experience allowed her to manage even the most chaotic moments with grace. However, Dr. Crowley's earlier words echoed in her mind. His dismissal of her efforts stung more than she wanted to admit. During a brief lull, Gloria found herself reflecting on the challenges she'd faced throughout her career. Being a nurse was not just a job, it was a calling. Yet, even after decades of dedication, there were still moments like this morning's confrontation that left her questioning whether respect for her role was a universal value. By lunchtime, the buzz around Dr. Crowley's abrasive behavior had reached most of the nursing staff. While some sympathized with Gloria, others chose to steer clear of the issue altogether. "He's like that with everyone," one nurse whispered to her. "Don't take it personally." Gloria nodded but said nothing. Deep down, she knew this wasn't just about her. Dr. Crowley's attitude was a symptom of a larger issue, a culture that sometimes failed to value the vital role nurses played in patient care. She resolved to continue doing her best, regardless of the challenges. In the afternoon, Gloria's resolve was tested again. A patient's family member had questions about their loved one's post-operative care. Gloria patiently explained every detail, ensuring their concerns were addressed. Midway through her explanation, Dr. Crowley walked by, overhearing the exchange. "Why are you wasting time with explanations?" he snapped. "Your job is to follow orders, not play doctor." The family's expressions shifted from gratitude to unease. Gloria's stomach churned, but she maintained her composure. "Families deserve to be informed," she said gently. "It's part of providing holistic care." Dr. Crowley rolled his eyes and walked away, muttering under his breath. As the day wound down, Gloria couldn't shake the frustration that lingered from her interactions with Dr. Crowley. Yet, she also felt a flicker of hope. In moments like these, she reminded herself of the countless patients who had thanked her, the lives she had helped save, and the colleagues who respected her. These were the moments that truly defined her career. Little did Gloria know, the events of the next few days would change everything, not just for her, but for the entire staff at Pinecrest Medical Center. A reckoning was on the horizon, and Gloria's grace under pressure would become the catalyst for a profound transformation. The story of Gloria and Pinecrest Medical Center reminds us of the importance of respect and dignity in every workplace. Stay tuned to see how this inspiring journey unfolds. Later that day, the usual hum of activity at Pinecrest Medical Center gave way to a palpable tension. A critically ill patient arrived in the emergency ward, and the atmosphere shifted into overdrive. Gloria Thompson, as always, stepped up to the challenge. Years of experience had sharpened her instincts, and she immediately took charge, coordinating the team with the precision of a seasoned leader. "We need to stabilize him," she said firmly, her voice cutting through the chaos. Gloria's calm yet commanding tone reassured the other nurses as she prepared 4 lines, monitored the patient's vitals, and ensured the crash cart was ready. Every move she made was purposeful, her focus unwavering despite the gravity of the situation. As the team moved in synchronized effort, the emergency doors swung open, and Dr. Richard Crowley marched in. His face bore its usual air of superiority, and his sharp gaze swept over the room. Spotting Gloria at the center of the action, he strode toward her with purpose. "What do you think you're doing?" he demanded, his voice sharp and condescending. Gloria didn't flinch. Instead, she answered evenly, "I'm following the emergency protocol." The patient's vitals were dropping, and I took immediate action to stabilize him. Dr. Crowley narrowed his eyes, ignoring the logic in her response. "Stop playing doctor and let the real professionals handle this," he shouted, loud enough for the entire ward to hear. The room froze. The other nurses exchanged uneasy glances, their expressions a mix of shock and disbelief. Gloria's face burned with humiliation, but she refused to let his words derail her focus. Her eyes flicked to the patient, who desperately needed their combined efforts. She inhaled deeply, centering herself before addressing the team. "Let's keep going," she said firmly. "This patient's life is our priority." Her calm determination galvanized the team. They rallied behind her, executing her instructions with precision and ignoring Dr. Crowley's tirade. Gloria's years of expertise shone as she led them through the critical minutes. Under her guidance, the patient's condition stabilized. The heart monitor's rhythmic beeping signaled success, a sound that momentarily silenced the tension in the room. Dr. Crowley, however, was not appeased. "Next time, let the doctors take the lead," he barked before storming out, leaving a trail of tension in his wake. Word of the incident spread like wildfire through the hospital. By the end of the day, nearly every staff member had heard about the confrontation in the emergency ward. Some were vocal in their support of Gloria, praising her professionalism and poise under pressure. Others, wary of Dr. Crowley's influence, chose to remain silent. "He's always been like that," one nurse whispered to Gloria during a break. "Don't let him get to you." Gloria nodded politely but said little. She appreciated the support, yet the sting of humiliation lingered. Her decades of dedication seemed invisible to someone like Dr. Crowley, whose arrogance blinded him to the value of collaboration. As the hours passed, Gloria's thoughts returned to the patient she'd helped save. That was what mattered most, she reminded herself. Still, the weight of the day's events pressed heavily on her shoulders. The next morning, Gloria arrived at work determined to move forward. The incident with Dr. Crowley had shaken her, but she refused to let it define her day. Pinecrest Medical Center was her second home, and she was committed to maintaining the highest standards of care for her patients. Midway through her shift, Gloria's resolve was tested again. A nurse hurried into the break room where Gloria was reviewing patient charts. "We need you in room 5, the nurse said breathlessly. "The family has questions about the surgery, and they're getting upset." Gloria immediately followed her to the room. Inside, she found a worried-looking couple seated by their son's bed. The young boy, no older than 8, had undergone an emergency appendectomy the night before and was recovering well. "Mrs. and Mr. Harper, I'm Nurse Thompson," Gloria said warmly, her voice soothing. "How can I help ease your concerns?" The mother's eyes brimmed with tears. "Is he going to be okay?" We just want to understand what happens next. Gloria pulled up a chair and explained the post-operative care plan in detail. She reassured them about their son's progress and encouraged them to ask any questions they had. Her empathetic approach seemed to put them at ease. As Gloria was wrapping up, Dr. Crowley entered the room. His eyes swept over the scene, his expression one of annoyance. "Why are you wasting time explaining all this?" he snapped. "Families don't need a medical lecture. They need to trust the doctors." The Harpers stiffened, their earlier comfort replaced by unease. Gloria's chest tightened, but she maintained her composure. "I believe it's important for families to feel informed and involved in their loved one's care," she replied calmly. Dr. Crowley scoffed and turned on his heel, muttering something under his breath as he left the room. The Harpers exchanged a look, their discomfort evident. "Thank you for taking the time to talk to us," Mr. Harper said after a pause. "It means a lot." Gloria smiled. "Your son is in good hands. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have more questions." By the end of the day, Gloria's patience had been tested more than once, but she refused to let Dr. Crowley's behavior overshadow her commitment to her work. The support from her patients and their families was a reminder of why she had dedicated her life to nursing. Yet, the lingering frustration couldn't be ignored. Gloria knew that standing up for herself and her profession wouldn't be easy, especially against someone as obstinate as Dr. Crowley. But she also knew she couldn't back down. Respect wasn't just about her. It was about every nurse who worked tirelessly to uphold the values of compassionate care. As Gloria prepared to leave for the evening, she overheard a group of nurses discussing the incident in the emergency ward. One of them, a younger nurse named Mia, spoke up. "Gloria's the reason that patient survived," Mia said. "Dr. Crowley might have the title, but she's the one who knew what to do." Hearing those words lifted Gloria's spirits. She smiled to herself, resolved to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Little did she know, the breaking point was not the end of her story but the beginning of something much greater. Change was coming, and Gloria would be at the heart of it. Stay tuned to discover how Gloria's resilience and dedication transform not just her own journey but the entire culture at Pinecrest Medical Center. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. The following morning, the steady rhythm of Pinecrest Medical Center was interrupted by the arrival of an unusual guest. Henry Whitmore, a distinguished elderly man in a wheelchair, was escorted through the hospital's bustling corridors by his caregiver. At first glance, Henry's presence seemed unassuming, but the whispers among the staff quickly revealed his identity. A retired judge and philanthropist renowned for his quiet generosity. Henry was scheduled for a minor surgery, and as fate would have it, Gloria Thompson was assigned to oversee his care. From the moment they met, Henry was struck by Gloria's warm professionalism. Her steady hands and genuine smile instantly put him at ease, and as the day progressed, they fell into easy conversation. Henry shared snippets of his life, recounting his years on the bench and stories about his late wife, whose final days had been made bearable by the compassion of nurses much like Gloria. Her attentiveness reminded him of their kindness, and he found himself deeply appreciating her demeanor. "You have a calming presence, my dear," Henry remarked as Gloria adjusted his foreline. "It's a rare gift, and I'm sure it's made a difference for many people." Gloria's cheeks flushed slightly, but she simply replied, "Thank you, Mr. Whitmore. I believe every patient deserves kindness and care, especially when they're at their most vulnerable." Henry's admiration for Gloria only deepened during his stay. He observed how she moved through her day with unyielding dedication, treating each patient with the same level of attention and respect. But it wasn't long before Henry's sharp eyes noticed something troubling: Dr. Richard Crowley's arrogant demeanor and the strain it placed on the staff, particularly on Gloria. One afternoon, as Henry rested in his room, he overheard a heated exchange outside his door. Dr. Crowley's unmistakable voice cut through the air, his tone dripping with disdain. "I don't have time for your incompetence, Nurse Thompson. If you can't handle the basics, perhaps you should reconsider your position here." Henry frowned, his hands gripping the armrests of his wheelchair. Through the crack in the door, he caught a glimpse of Gloria standing tall, her expression calm but her shoulders slightly tense. She responded with her usual grace, choosing professionalism over confrontation. Dr. Crowley, she said evenly, if there's a specific issue with the patient's care, I'd be happy to address it. Otherwise, I suggest we focus on ensuring the best outcomes for everyone under our care. Dr. Crowley huffed dismissively and stormed off, leaving Gloria to return to her duties. Henry's heart ached at the sight. He had spent a lifetime advocating for fairness and justice, and witnessing such blatant disrespect stirred something within him. Later that evening, as Gloria checked on Henry, he gestured for her to sit beside him. "My dear," he began, his voice kind but firm, "you handle yourself with remarkable grace. That doctor could learn a thing or two from you about respect and humility." Gloria's smile was faint but genuine. "Thank you, Mr. Whitmore. It's just part of the job. Patients always come first." Henry shook his head. "It's more than that. I've seen how you carry yourself, how you inspire those around you, even in the face of adversity. People like you are the backbone of places like this. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise." Gloria's eyes glistened, but she quickly blinked back tears. "I appreciate your kind words. Truly." As Gloria left to tend to another patient, Henry's mind churned with ideas. His years as a judge had taught him to recognize injustice, and he couldn't sit idly by while someone as capable as Gloria was treated so poorly. Unbeknownst to her, Henry was already formulating a plan. The next day, Henry requested a meeting with the hospital's administration. Though his surgery had gone smoothly, he framed the request as a discussion about his recovery, a ruse to ensure his concerns would be heard by the right people. The administrators, eager to please a man of his stature, promptly scheduled the meeting. Henry arrived in the conference room with his caregiver, his demeanor calm but purposeful. Seated across from him were the hospital director and several senior staff members. After a few minutes of polite pleasantries, Henry's tone shifted. "I've been incredibly impressed by the care I've received during my stay here," he began. "But I've also observed behavior that deeply concerns me." The room grew still. Henry's reputation as a man of integrity preceded him, and his words carried weight. "One individual in particular seems to have forgotten the principles of compassion and respect that should define this profession," Henry continued. "Dr. Richard Crowley. His condescending attitude and dismissive behavior toward the nursing staff, particularly Nurse Gloria Thompson, undermine the collaborative spirit necessary for excellent patient care." The administrators exchanged uneasy glances, clearly taken aback by Henry's directness. "Nurse Thompson," he said firmly, "is an exemplary professional. Her dedication and skill saved lives, including mine in ways both seen and unseen. I won't stand by while someone like her is disrespected. I trust you'll address this matter appropriately." As the meeting concluded, Henry wheeled himself out, leaving the administrators to contemplate his words. Gloria, unaware of his intervention, continued her day as usual, focused entirely on her patients. Little did she know, a powerful ally was working behind the scenes to ensure she received the recognition and respect she so richly deserved. 2 weeks later, the Grand Hall of Pinecrest Medical Center shimmered with elegance as staff and distinguished guests gathered for the hospital's annual gala. This event, a highlight of the year, was a chance for everyone to celebrate the institution's successes and foster goodwill among its benefactors. Gloria Thompson, however, felt a pang of hesitation about attending. She had never been one for grand events, preferring the quiet satisfaction of her work over the spotlight. But her colleagues' insistence finally swayed her, and she arrived dressed simply but gracefully, blending into the crowd. The evening unfolded with the usual speeches and toasts, accompanied by the clinking of glasses and polite laughter. Gloria found herself seated at a table with a mix of familiar faces and new ones, including Henry Whitmore, the retired judge who had left a lasting impression on her during his recent hospital stay. Henry's warm demeanor put her at ease, and they exchanged pleasantries as the night progressed. Midway through the event, the hospital CEO, a polished man in his 50s, took to the stage. The room quieted as he tapped the microphone, a broad smile spreading across his face. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "we are here tonight to celebrate the incredible work of Pinecrest Medical Center, but also to recognize the individuals who make this institution exceptional. Tonight, we have a very special announcement." A murmur of curiosity rippled through the crowd. Gloria's attention peaked, though she assumed it was another routine acknowledgement of the hospital's benefactors. The CEO continued, "It is my honor to introduce a man who needs no introduction, Judge Henry Whitmore. He has graciously decided to make a transformative contribution to our hospital. Please give him a warm welcome." Applause filled the room as Henry wheeled himself onto the stage, his presence commanding respect. Gloria watched, intrigued, as the elderly man adjusted the microphone and surveyed the crowd with a thoughtful expression. "Thank you," Henry began, his voice steady and measured. "In my short stay at Pinecrest Medical Center, I witnessed something remarkable. This hospital's strength lies not just in its state-of-the-art facilities or renowned physicians, but in the unwavering dedication of its staff. The nurses, in particular, are the unsung heroes of this institution." The audience nodded in agreement, many casting glances at the nurses in the room. Gloria felt a flush of pride, but kept her gaze fixed on her hands, unsure of where this was heading. Henry's tone grew more solemn. "However, I also observed behavior that troubled me deeply. Behavior that undermines the very principles of respect and collaboration that healthcare should embody." A hush fell over the room. Henry's words carried weight, and the tension was palpable. "During my stay, I had the privilege of being cared for by one of the finest professionals I've ever met," he continued. "Her name is Gloria Thompson." Gasps and applause erupted, and all eyes turned toward Gloria, who sat frozen in her seat. Her colleagues beamed with pride, some nudging her to stand, but she remained seated, overwhelmed by the unexpected recognition. Henry raised a hand to quiet the room. "Nurse Thompson embodies the very best of this institution. Her compassion, skill, and grace under pressure are unparalleled. But I also witnessed her being subjected to disrespect and condescension, treatment no professional should endure." The atmosphere shifted, the weight of Henry's words sinking in. Dr. Richard Crowley, seated near the front, stiffened visibly. His complexion turned pale, and beads of sweat formed on his brow. The room's focus seemed to shift toward him, though no names were mentioned. Henry continued, "Tonight, I am pledging $5 million to Pinecrest Medical Center. But this donation comes with one condition. The hospital must commit to fostering a culture of respect where every member of the team, from the doctors to the custodial staff, is treated with the dignity they deserve." The room erupted into applause, louder and more enthusiastic than before. Gloria felt tears prick at her eyes, but she quickly wiped them away, her heart swelling with gratitude. Henry's gaze found her in the crowd. "Gloria, you are a beacon of hope and an example to us all. This hospital is lucky to have you, and I am proud to stand here tonight and acknowledge your incredible contributions." As the applause swelled once more, Gloria finally stood, her colleagues cheering her on. She nodded her thanks, her emotions too overwhelming for words. Across the room, Dr. Crowley sank lower in his seat, his arrogance deflated under the weight of public scrutiny. The CEO returned to the stage, his expression a mix of gratitude and resolve. "Judge Whitmore, your generosity and words are a call to action. Pinecrest Medical Center will rise to meet this challenge and ensure that respect and collaboration remain at the heart of our mission." The remainder of the evening took on a celebratory tone, with guests offering their congratulations to Gloria and commending Henry for his bold stand. Gloria found herself at the center of attention, her humility and grace shining through as she thanked each well-wisher. For Dr. Crowley, the night marked a turning point. The public nature of Henry's rebuke left him no choice but to reflect on his behavior. In the weeks that followed, changes began to ripple through the hospital. Mandatory training sessions on workplace respect and collaboration were implemented, and staff members felt empowered to speak up against unfair treatment. Gloria, though reluctant to take credit, became a symbol of resilience and professionalism. Her colleagues looked to her as a leader, and the hospital's culture began to shift in a positive direction. Henry's donation funded new initiatives to support staff well-being, ensuring that Pinecrest Medical Center would continue to thrive as a place of healing and respect. As Gloria left the gala that night, she glanced up at the stars and smiled. She had faced challenges, but with courage and grace, she had not only overcome them but inspired change for the better. The path ahead was brighter than ever, and she was ready to walk it with her head held high. In the days following the gala, the ripple effects of Judge Henry Whitmore's speech were felt throughout Pinecrest Medical Center. The hospital's administration launched an internal review, scrutinizing reports of workplace culture and behavior. Dr. Richard Crowley's name appeared repeatedly in complaints from staff who had long endured his condescension and abrasive attitude. With mounting evidence, the decision was swift. His contract was terminated. For Gloria Thompson, the news came as a bittersweet relief. While she never sought vengeance, the acknowledgement of her value and the action taken against Dr. Crowley felt like a long overdue validation of her dedication. But the surprises didn't end there. Just a week later, during a staff meeting, the hospital's CEO made another announcement. "We're thrilled to name Gloria Thompson as our new head nurse," he declared, his tone warm and congratulatory. The room erupted in applause, her colleagues cheering and clapping in genuine support. Gloria's heart swelled with emotion as she stood to address the room, her voice steady despite the lump in her throat. "Thank you," she began, her eyes scanning the faces of those who had become her second family. "This honor isn't just about me. It's about all of us. Every nurse, every aide, every member of this team who works tirelessly to care for our patients. Together, we can continue to make Pinecrest a place where compassion and excellence thrive." Henry Whitmore's $5 million donation became a transformative force for the hospital. The funds were used to create state-of-the-art training facilities, implement comprehensive staff development programs, and establish a wellness center for employees. Under Gloria's leadership, these changes sparked a cultural shift. The staff felt more empowered and respected, fostering an environment where collaboration and mutual support flourished. Meanwhile, news of Dr. Crowley's dismissal spread through the medical community. While his departure from Pinecrest was a humbling experience, it marked the beginning of a new chapter for him as well. Months later, he took a position at a smaller clinic in a rural town. Away from the pressures and prestige of a major hospital, he found himself reflecting on the events that had led to his downfall. Gradually, his demeanor softened. The lessons he'd learned about humility, respect, and the importance of teamwork began to shape his interactions with colleagues and patients. As for Gloria, her life settled into a new rhythm. Her promotion brought new responsibilities, but she embraced them with the same grace and dedication that had defined her career. She became a mentor to younger nurses, sharing her wisdom and encouraging them to stand tall in the face of challenges. One evening, as she walked through the hospital's halls, Gloria paused to admire a plaque newly installed in the main lobby. It read, "In honor of Judge Henry Whitmore, whose generosity and vision inspired a brighter future for Pinecrest Medical Center." Beneath the inscription was a second line, dedicated to the nurses who embody the heart and soul of healthcare. Gloria smiled. The journey had been arduous, but it had also been worth every step. Pinecrest was no longer just a workplace. It was a community bound by respect, compassion, and a shared commitment to making a difference. And for Gloria, this new chapter was just the beginning. Gloria's story quickly spread beyond Pinecrest Medical Center, becoming a source of inspiration for countless individuals. Nurses and healthcare workers across the state wrote letters to Gloria, thanking her for standing tall and demonstrating the power of integrity and resilience. Her courage became a beacon of hope for those facing adversity in their own workplaces. The changes at Pinecrest were profound. With Gloria as head nurse, staff morale soared. The new training programs funded by Judge Henry Whitmore's donation equipped employees with tools to handle challenging situations with empathy and professionalism. More than that, Gloria's leadership fostered a culture of mutual respect that permeated every corner of the hospital. Patients noticed the difference, too. Their care was more attentive, their voices heard more clearly, and their outcomes improved as a result. The transformation extended far beyond Pinecrest's walls. Local media outlets shared Gloria's story, highlighting the importance of respect and collaboration in healthcare. Her name became synonymous with compassion and determination. Gloria's journey also inspired a new generation of nurses, many of whom cited her as their role model when pursuing careers in healthcare. She often said, "It's not about being perfect. It's about doing the right thing when it matters most." Years later, Gloria decided it was time to retire. The announcement was met with an outpouring of admiration and gratitude from her colleagues and the community. A farewell celebration was organized in her honor, held in the hospital's newly renovated atrium. The room was filled with familiar faces, nurses she had mentored, doctors she had collaborated with, and even patients who remembered her kindness during their most vulnerable moments. Judge Henry Whitmore, now a close friend of Gloria's, took the podium to deliver a heartfelt speech. "Gloria taught us that kindness and dignity can change lives," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "She showed us that even in the face of adversity, integrity prevails." Her legacy is not just in the walls of this hospital, but in the hearts of everyone she's touched. As Gloria looked around the room, her eyes filled with tears. The years had brought their share of challenges, but they had also brought immense fulfillment. She had devoted her life to caring for others, and in return, she had gained a community of people who respected and cherished her. Her journey had been about more than overcoming obstacles. It had been about building something lasting, something meaningful. Before the evening ended, Gloria addressed the gathering. "Thank you," she said simply, her voice steady despite the lump in her throat. "I've always believed that our actions, no matter how small, can create ripples of change. I'm so grateful to have shared this journey with all of you." The room erupted into applause, a standing ovation for a woman whose dedication had transformed countless lives. Gloria left Pinecrest that night with a full heart, knowing that the ripple she had started would continue to spread far and wide, touching lives in ways she could only imagine. This story reminds us that respect and kindness can overcome even the greatest challenges. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Let us know where you're from and what inspires you most about Gloria's journey.